This is your boy DJ Leon D, and on this channel we talk about travel, money, and lots of cooking. Three things I know quite a bit about. I'm not an expert at anything. Nope, not an expert. I've just been around a long time and know a lot. Let's get it on. Hello family, this is your boy DJ Leon D. I'm here to tell you about some food. I got a new food that I like a whole lot. Yeah, I'm kind of getting used to it now. I like it a whole lot. And it's Boston butts or pork shoulder. You know, with the price of meat, especially beef, is off the chain. And I told you, I'm just so pissed off at brisket, what you get for the money. Brisket can tell you $5.49 a pound. That's what I saw today. It can tell you that. But by the time you see me trim this brisket and see all the fat I got on it and what I get left over, and then you know when you cook it, it's going to render down even smaller. You paying about $15 a pound for brisket. Yes, you are. You may not see that, but that's the finished product, not the beginning. So let's talk about pork shoulders. I'm seasoning and injecting this pork shoulder. Now, you can inject it with a whole lot of things. When I inject pork shoulders, I like to use something citric. You know, apple juice, maybe even orange juice, maybe, something citric. I've even used pineapple juice before when I was in Hawaii. That way you get a little Hawaiian taste to it. Now, I'm not a person who goes berserk on the injection. I just want enough to keep it moist as it cooked, the inside. And now let me tell you something else about pork shoulder. One thing I noticed, these big box stores, you can't find a pork shoulder with bones in them. You can't find, it's hard. I don't mean just Costco. And not only that, I know that when you buy meat and you sell meat, everything got a price point. Stores are the same way. They don't want you seeing something that's going to make your eyes get open wider. They don't want to see any of that. So what they do, you still going to pay about $15 for about 7 or 8 pound pork shoulder, which is small to me. A pork shoulder don't render down. It doesn't render down as much as some other meats, but it does get smaller as you cook the pork shoulder. Now, let me tell you, what I was going to tell you is that trying to find one with bone in it. I like the idea of just pulling the bone out and with no effort, because then you know it's cooked all the way through. Now, I use the thermometers all the time, no matter what. I probably got about 50 thermometers around my house. And this barbecue season, pork shoulder is my number one meat now. Ribs cost a lot. Ribs cost a lot more than they used to cost. And see, this is what gets me. I know that all over the country, transportation costs for meat is just, crazy, because gas prices are crazy. And people got to compensate themselves for what it takes to get their meat in the store. Now, a lot of you can't cook a pork shoulder, but in this video, I'm showing you how I'm injecting it, how I'm putting binder on it, which is mustard in this case, and then I'm putting seasoning on it. So you can't go wrong. And I'm even showing you which seasonings I'm using so that you can go out and buy some. Now, you can put as much seasoning as you want on it. And to make it so bad, when I put seasoning on, I get a nice bark. My pork shoulder is almost black when I finish. I get a nice bark to it. Now, let me tell you what a lot of you do wrong on pork shoulders. First of all, you use the wrong settings. Smoke it. And a pork shoulder really don't take that long to cook. It really don't. Pork isn't like beef. It's a thick meat, but not a compressed thick meat. You know how you see fat people and everything's jiggly? That's kind of how a pork shoulder is. Everything is jiggly, It's not like a tomahawk where it's all compressed. It's really dense. Now, pork isn't like that. Now, saying that, the reason I pick a pork shoulder, because, chicken always going to be cheap. Chicken, as long as you don't get the boneless kind, it's going to be cheap. I don't buy a lot of boneless meat unless it's ground meat anyway. I like bones in my food. It tastes better. And that's just a fact. It tastes better. And it also, it takes a little bit longer. But also, if you buy bones in your meat, if you get the temperature of the bone right, the rest of the meat is right. Because it had to go through all that meat to get to the bone. Now, a lot of you didn't know that. Now, but I'm telling you though, just take your thermometer and put it on the bone. The bone says 205. Then the rest of the meat is at least 205. Because 99% of the time, the bone is in the middle. Now, I have bought some pork shoulders where the bone is closer to the top or the bottom. It depends on how you turn the meat up. It all depends on you. But a lot of you don't understand that a pork shoulder feeds a lot of people at a very low cost. So if you really want to impress your friends, get them, pulled pork sandwiches or whatever. And it doesn't take a lot, because you can add things to it like coleslaw, lettuce, whatever you're going to add to it to make the sandwich look bigger. Yes, you can do all that. So my whole thing to you is that if you really, really do want to feed a lot of people at a cheap cost, pork shoulders is no more than a couple of dollars a pound, and you don't lose a lot of it when you cook it. So you got a way out to feed all your friends and your little toothless nieces and nephews. So you have a way out. That's what I did in this video. I cooked 3 pork shoulders at once. Didn't take up a lot of grill space. I smoked them for about an hour, hour and a half, and then I cooked them after that. And they came out perfect. Now, saying that, one of the other good things about pork shoulders too is that I know some of y'all use crock pots and all that. I don't use no. I'm a smoker. I put my stuff on my smoker. But saying all that, if you get it where you want it at, it's around 190 degrees, go ahead and put it in a pan so that when it gets to 200 degrees, you got all the juices still in the pan. Now, I used to use butcher's paper, aluminum foil. I used a lot of different things to try and savor or save the juice from the meat. I used to do all that. Yeah, like I was saying, I used to use all kind of stuff to try and hold in the, just hold in the juices. I butcher's paper, aluminum foil, all kind of stuff. And then I decided when I use an aluminum pan, a steam foil pan, you hold it all in, no problem at all. But remember what I told you though, it's 95% cooked already. It's already finished. This is that last 10 degrees. It takes you another 20, 30 minutes to get there. Now you're all done. You got every single piece of juice you want. Because I like to, once I tear apart the meat or pull the bone out, I like to add the juices au jus back into the meat. That way you got moist meat. Now, some people may spritz the pork butts. I do not do that. I like to inject. And I never have a problem just injecting something. Never have a problem at all. So my whole thing to all of y'all, we all gonna cook it differently. The goal is for me to help y'all make sure y'all meat come out right. Make sure y'all ain't sitting there killing somebody with raw meat, undercooked, or even overcooked. Because I've seen some people overcook, pork butts like they do other things. But like I said, I done tried chicken, reindeer, elk, bison, ground beef, ribs, and tomahawk steaks so far this particular summer. And I think I'm happiest with the pork butt based on, the cost and how much it can feed and the ease of cooking it. Based on those criteria. Because I don't want to be out there in the backyard, when it's 95 degrees every single second. I don't want to do that. I want to put it on, enjoy it. Put it on my smokers, and the other thing too. Pork butts, as you know, generates a lot of grease in your grease pan. Well, by me putting it in a pan before it's totally done, that grease doesn't go to my grease pan. Nope. It goes right back into the pork. I like a good pork rub. I don't use rib rub, even though rib is a pork. I like a different kind of rub. Every meat I cook has a different rub. So all of you out there who looking for something new to try this summer, and now people are going to tell you all the time, well, that could be a lot of meat. Well, guess what? you can add pulled pork to a lot of different dishes, especially your sides, or even a salad. You can do all that. So if you cook too much, you can use it for other things. You can't do that with ribs. You can't do it with tomahawk steak. No. If you got too much, you just got too damn much. You got to throw it away or whatever you're going to do with it. Give it away, throw it away. Eat more than you should eat, gain some weight, whatever you're going to do. But with pork shoulder, you got all kind of after uses that's how you want to say it? There are a lot of uses you got for that you can do after you cook it, after you eat much as you want, and if you still got some left. Because see, here's the thing. I said earlier, everybody got a price point. That store is going to sell you the pork butt for $20, whatever it costs, right? And what they used to give you 10 pounds, now they're giving you 8 pounds. That's what they're doing. And it looks like it's kind of big when there's no bone in it. It's not. I like mine with bones in them. I like big bones. Kind of like a lot of people around here, a lot of y'all, big bones. I ain't never seen a fat skeleton, but you got big bones. So that's the advantage of using a pulled pork or a pork shoulder, is that you got uses for the meat after you're done. Or freeze it, freeze it and then use it for something else later on. Or reheat it and eat it. Use it in your sous vide. You can do a whole lot of things. So don't fret if you think you got too much for one person, because pork butts don't come in a single person use. No, they are really designed for families. And some of y'all might put it in the crock pot. And I know people who will tell me they do not eat pork, but yet they've eaten my string beans that's got pork added to it, whether it's bacon or pork shoulder, whatever. They've eaten that without a problem at all. So I just wanted y'all to know that pork shoulder is my now number one go-to thing this particular summer. I'm going to give it an experiment like I do all meats. And as long as I'm happy and it's producing what it should produce and it's at the cost that it should be at, that's what I'm going to stick with. Now, I'm not going to give up ribs. No way in hell. I'm a rib man. I'm a rib king. I'm going to have my ribs. I'm not going to give up ribs. I'm not going to give up chicken. I'm not going to give up tomahawk steaks. I just won't buy as many of those anymore. But I'm not buying any more briskets. I'm not doing briskets this whole rest of the summer. Unless someone pay me some crazy money, I'm not doing brisket. It's a lot of work, as you can see. Pork butt isn't. And you ain't got to take a lot of fat off pork butt. And 1/3 of it is not just fat. So that's why I'm going in the direction I'm going in. But pork butt is going to be what I'm going to do. And plus, the buns are cheap. Bread's always been cheap. You can't make bread too expensive because it's still going to be under a couple bucks, $3 at the most. Unless you go into some of those bougie places that some people go to, like Wegmans, like Trader Joe's, places that you unnecessary Whole Foods. Who in the hell? I understand some of y'all want special type breads and all this and all that. But listen, when you go in those stores, the people buying all this low diet, non-calorie stuff, they usually ain't the people who needs that. They usually ain't the people who needs that. And those who need it ain't buying that because they buying taste. They don't give a damn. They buying taste from somewhere. They gonna go there and get some bread like Hawaiian rolls with all this sugar in it. That's what they gonna buy. They gonna drink cane sodas. Yep, they didn't get that size by eating the stuff that I'm telling you to eat. And you can also cut a lot of fat off of your pulled pork if you want to. I mean, you can go in there and say, okay, I don't want to pull. I'm gonna cut this off so that I can not have as much fat. You can do that. But I take out very little fat on pulled pork. I eat very little fat. I cut off very little fat. I cook it almost the way I buy it. If I went to a decent butcher or got from a decent store. Some stores gonna give you they're gonna give you a lot of fat, so you can think you got a lot of weight. They will try that. Oh, I'm giving you a 12-pound pulled pork. Okay, and then you're gonna find out that out of 12 pounds pulled pork, 4.5 pounds of nothing but damn fat. You go to some stores, it's already trimmed for you, so life is easy. It's already trimmed nicely for you. And if you go to a butcher, you should always leave a butcher with your meat cut the way you want it. Now, here's the deal with butchers. They're not going to charge you the after trim price. They're charging you the before trim price. Then they'll trim it, but you paying that price what it was before he did all this work. Because labor ain't free. Some of you think it is. No, slave days have been gone for a while now. Get used to the idea that if someone does some work for you, you're going to pay them. It is what it is. So if you go to a Costco, those pulled porks are boneless. I haven't seen one with a bone in Costco in years. They are boneless. So I have never bought anything out of Costco pulled pork wise in years, if ever. I normally get mine at Restaurant Depot. Sam's Club have them, but they small. They real small with bones in them. But most stores nowadays, they all boneless. Weiss, I think Giant, I seen one with a bone in Giant, but it was small. It was made for a crock pot. But I want my pulled pork not made for a crock pot. I want it made for a smoker, like the ones I got right here. These are small. The ones I'm doing in this video, they're small by my standards. Because I used to get 12 and 14 pound pork shoulders like it was nothing. Now you can't find that size unless you go to a commercial place to buy your meat. You can't find one the size that, and then when you find one your size, they take the damn bone out. Sometimes I think a lot of these stores go overboard. Americans are never going to eat healthy. What they're going to do is stop buying your food because it's not what they want. And pork shoulder is in that category. If Americans wanted to eat healthy, they would not go to restaurants. Because you go to a restaurant, I don't care what it is, what they say, you are not eating healthy. You can go there and say, I'm going to get me a salad. But then you get the dressing. The dressing is going to have something in it that's not good for you, or the salad will. Now, to all y'all who are trying to save money this summer, because, things going up and some of y'all ain't got the money you had last year, or you're not getting as much, or you may have had some babies or some other things going on in your life that makes you want to go out and barbecue something a little bit different, and you don't like Spam. Yeah, some of you, don't like Spam. So when you want to barbecue, because see, pulled pork, that's what they call it before it becomes part of Spam, because Spam is a little everything. But my whole point is, every year I'm going to try a different meat to see if I can find not a replacement for anything, but to either complement or compete with what I already have, or compete with my palates to say, okay, this is something you ought to try more often. Because the price of a lot of things is going up. Thank God, seasoning is not going up, because I use a lot of seasoning on a lot of different things. And seasoning is always been one of those cheap things that you can buy. So when you think about what it is that you want to do and what it is that you need, and how can you feed those 15 kids you got? I know you got 15 kids and maybe 3 or 4 are yours. And I know the rest of them you probably claim, or she at least told you they were yours. But, you got to get something that's good that you can spread around. You can spread, and pulled pork is in that category. I don't remember last time I bought meat that you can cook, this meat and about $25 for 8 pounds of it. And you can feed about 25 people if they're little. Now, I can't tell you how many people you can feed if they're fat. Because we know fat people are always going to eat a lot more than what they think they're going to eat. And a hell of a lot more than what they told you they were going to eat. Now, they may eat a little bit in front of you, but we know they're going to run outside and they're going to just call it a day. But this is your boy, DJ Leon D, telling you my new favorite food this year. My new favorite food this year. I don't use the word favorite. What is affordability? What I think when I got company, I'm gonna get them some pulled pork. And most people like pulled pork. I don't know anybody who really don't. Now, we like it all kind of ways. I don't like mine super fine, shredded to where it looks like I got Skittles on a sandwich. No. I like mine kind of like stringy. I like it stringy, and you could add your own stuff to it. I like mine with pickles and stuff, but I add all that after the fact, not before. So my whole point is, I think that This year, I'm gonna be on the pulled pork bandwagon. I think a few of y'all should join me, and I know a few of y'all already had a lot of pulled pork based on what I see, But and then I'm gonna try different toppings on the pulled pork. I ain't doing no crazy shit like peanut butter and all that. Nah. I mean, I'm gonna do, maybe relish, maybe some coleslaw, maybe some kind of other vegetable. I don't do fruit and meat. I've never been that kind of person. I might inject it with some pineapple juice, but that's not gonna be a primary thing though for me. So this your boy DJ Leon D telling you my new meat this year, and it's not necessarily prices. It's just what I get in return for the money I pay from the other meats. It's just what I get. Now I would never do baby backs, but because I'm a spare rib kind of guy. But pulled pork is gonna be in that category. Now I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna get rid of chicken and deer and deer sausages and all that. But that is just one of the things that I'm looking forward to. So you can see some videos with me cooking pulled pork, and you can see some videos, and I'll tell you how they come out. They're good, they're not, oh well, I'm gonna tell you that too. So this is your boy DJ Leon D saying pulled pork is the way to go this summer.